What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Well, we're on the test server today and we are ready to go with the testing of the brand new fusion that's coming out in a couple days this week, the Incarnate. So let's take a quick look at that and quickly go over the kit. So High Elves Incarnate, she is a force affinity defense based kind of supportish champion here. Yeah, we got the visuals here. It looks kind of, I guess in the preview they said it's kind of like the Arbiter. I guess the Incarnate is, I guess, a fake Arbiter. I'm not too sure, but similar body skin. Yeah, force affinity base stats. We've seen these type of base stats before. Lower HP, higher defense, decent speed with some resistance and accuracy. I mean, she got a lot of stats in her base stats here. Her A1 double hit provoke, up to 50% chance to provoke. So that's about 75% total chance. So the likelihood that you land a provoke is 75% if you include both hits. She has a 10% chance to counterattack when Arbiter is hit. So minuscule that it doesn't really matter at all. Her damage is based on defense. Her A2 attacks all enemies, have a 75% chance of removing shield buffs and one random buff from all your enemies. So we got confirmation that the attack happens first and then removing of the shields. It's actually very strange. Hopefully we can find a situation where we can test this, but it seems almost not right for that to happen. It should be remove shields first and then attack, because why would you attack and then remove the shields that were just damaged? So it's kind of weird. But yeah, we'll try to find a shield champion and then we'll try to use this ability, and then one strip buff for your enemies. It's okay. Also places a shield on your whole team and the value of the shield is equal to the champion's defense, so similar to like Valkyrie or Wixwell. Books up to 100% chance and of course 3-turn cooldown on this ability, which is solid. Her A3 is just a solid generic move. Ally protection, strengthen, 3-turn cooldown. Honestly, they could have added something here and it wouldn't have broke the game or anything. This is a great clan boss move. For example, ally protection and strengthen are some of the best protection abilities in the game for clan boss or in general, but good move overall. 2 passive here on the Incarnate. First passive is Crisis Response, 4-turn cooldown. Increases this champion's accuracy by 20 for each ally under ally protection. So that could be on Hydra, 5 protected champions, so that's plus 100 accuracy. Usually if you were doing Hydra, you probably spec her out with proper accuracy, so the increased accuracy isn't that necessary. And then this passive says when killed, so when Incarnate is killed, reset the cooldown of Destiny's Call skill on any ally arbiters. Destiny's Call is the revive ability on arbiters, so when she dies, she gives Arbiter a chance to bring her back. And then her second passive is increase this champion's resistance by 20 for each ally under ally protection. Again, plus 100 resistance. Again, if you're going to build her as a resistance tank, you're going to give her with the proper resistance and not rely on this buff. So it honestly doesn't really matter. This champion will also receive 20% of the damage of any ally arbiters. That's okay, sure, yeah. And then if an arbiter is about to be killed, they place an unkillable buff on them. There is some problems with this. It's not as good as, for example, prevent death and then place unblockable, for example, like somebody like Goffred or Siegfried, where their passives can save a champion and then give them a block damage buff. The unkillable is not as good. So anyways, kind of okay-ish kit. Honestly, not too many bad things to say about it other than it's kind of generic. You got the double hit provoke. We've seen this a million times, and we even have like an near identical champion in the same faction with Islan Strategos, or Strategos Islan. He has a double hit provoke as well. And then, weren't we just coming off a fusion with the shield type champion and an A1 provoke? So like Wixwell has the 100% provoke and a similar type of shield proportionate on champion's defense type ability. It's very similar to what we already have. And even the base stats on her, very similar to Wixwell, very similar to Strategos Islan. So yeah, just it feels like we've seen it before, but let's take a quick look at what she's capable of and how I've spec'd her out. So let's jump into that. So Incarnate. So actually I have two different builds for her. One, her abilities don't give her any kind of healing or sustain, and she can't revive herself. So she probably needs some kind of healer to go with her in a team to make the most of it. So obviously you probably pair her up with Arbiter, although the pairing bonus is not like insanely good or anything. It's kind of like good enough that it's usable, but it's not insanely good. So I have her built in regeneration gear. She's fast. She has decent HP to absorb some hits from the ally protection. She has a little bit of defense just for the shield, not too much defense. I gave her a lot of stats, so resistance and accuracy. You can probably forego resistance potentially and just give her straight defense. Made her fast. I gave her the blood shield accessory so that she can be a mischief tank, for example, and then of course the regeneration set for the healing. Seems reasonable. Skill kit fully booked. She's definitely going to want full books here, especially for the provoke. 50% chance, and then obviously for the cooldowns, very high value for the books. Definitely need it there. Masteries, kind of generic masteries here. Went down for War Master to help for Hydra, and then I focused on shield, shield size, and then buff extension at the very end here. Couldn't really find a very good T5 mastery that made sense, so I just went with Spirit Haste, but honestly these are very low value at the end. Provoke can't be extended, and provoke can't be enhanced in terms of debuff chance, so no real bonus there. And then giving her this one, is she really going to kill somebody for extra damage? Probably not. So anyways, that's going to be one build on her. The second build here is I'm going to showcase a little bit of the preset manager, which is really cool. The other build I thought that might work pretty good on her is actually a full 9-piece protection set. So full 9-piece protection set here. Yeah, we can just go equip, no big deal. So preset manager here, pretty cool, right? These preset managers. So I set these up beforehand, very quick to set up, very nice and convenient. So I actually have a 9-piece protection set in High Elves. She has 3 buffs available to her, so shield here and then ally protection and strengthen. These are good buffs, and then that's an extra 15% extra damage from the 9-piece boost. So on the 9-piece, you give allies 5% more damage for each buff placed by the wearer. So she's the wearer, she's going to give 15% extra damage for your whole team. That's really nice. So I think maybe for a Hydra, this might be a better build, just for some extra damage, because her kit is kind of, like I said, kind of plain. However, I do have some concerns that she won't be able to heal up properly or survive with the 9-piece boost, because there's no healing involved in this set. But we can give it a go and see how it goes here. But let's first try the regeneration set and see how she goes in supporting Arbiter. Okay, so first I want to try her out in the Sand Devil. I think a lot of people were talking about her in Sand Devil, and then we can just have a quick look at how it works. But this is going to debunk you guys right away with using her in Sand Devil. Sand Devil basically negates the unkillable buff, so it's not going to work for any kind of team building in the Sand Devil, unfortunately. So yeah, that's just one thing that to be aware of. Definitely don't try her out there. Okay, so let's head to the arena here and try to test her out in some kind of maybe go second capacity. So I was thinking maybe you could use the passive to keep your Arbiter alive. Maybe you're uncertain of whether you can win a speed race, for example, and then you bring her as an insurance policy to keep your Arbiter alive in case she gets nuked. And then, you know, she can revive and boost your team, and then you can hopefully get a turn. That would be like some kind of rough idea for an arena strategy. So let's see how it works in the arena here. We're going to, let's see, attack Dead with Jedi. So we're going to go first. Let's slow it down. So let's see. So we have her ability here. We could go ally protection and strengthen, or we can go for the shield. So let's go for the shield ability, I guess. Actually, Actually, I guess it doesn't really matter, but let's see how the shield goes. Okay, it's pretty small. I mean, I don't have insane defense on her, but it's a pretty small gain here. And it's proportionate to defense, so it's not damage-based shield. I don't really want to kill anybody, but okay, so I killed the Sifi. Okay, let's see what happens here. Oh, it would have been a good opportunity to get the shield from the faceless, actually. Okay, let's try that again, actually. We can try to get the shield from the faceless. You notice that she did not keep the Arbiter alive. Try that again. This time we'll use the ally protection. Okay. Okay, so we're locked out. You know why? It's because against lockout, her passives are on full cooldown. They no longer will protect Arbiter here. Alright. Alright, so she dies. She gets killed in one hit because of all the ally protection damage. Arbiter's revive is reset. However, Arbiter's revive ability was already on full cool. Was already locked out, so having it reset actually makes sense. Actually, that played out a little bit interesting because I thought that Incarnate's ability was fully locked out by Yumiko, well, at least locked out for a couple turns. So how was she able to reset Arbiter's Destiny's Call? That was kind of interesting. Actually, let's see that again. That's actually a little bit interesting. Okay, so we're gonna get a turn here. Ally protection. Okay, so we're locked out. Kill this guy first so we get another turn here. Yeah, so our skills are locked out for 2 turns. Get provoked. Okay. Since she doesn't have any kind of built-in okay. I guess in this instance, she did keep the Arbiter alive. But doesn't matter, I guess. It's kind of interesting, actually. I imagine that her passive should have been on cooldown. What do you guys think? Her passive should have been on cooldown by Yumiko, so how was she able to reset Destiny's Call? Or provide the unkillable buff? I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here. Or maybe some kind of interaction I'm not factoring in, but it seems a little bit interesting. I think in that last fight where she was able to get the unkillable on Arbiter, she was still CC'd by Sifi. I think what would be a lot better is if she got the unkillable, as well as maybe some other protection like block debuffs, for example, or extra turn meter, maybe an instant turn, for example, to make full use of the revive ability. That would have been a little bit stronger. As it is, it's basically just giving Arbiter the kind of like skull crown treatment, just giving her unkillable. She can still be CC'd, she can still be block buffed, so that the unkillable doesn't get placed. So not really feeling it's super useful here, to be honest. For example, I think against a single Wukong, I think she would not be able to save the Arbiter here. Just because the Wukong would use the block buffs and strip. Let's give the Wukong a chance to use the ability. Okay, so now the block buff is applied and she won't be able to save her anymore because obviously the unkillable is a buff. But let's see the Wukong in action here. Okay, that was a very weird interaction. That was a very strange interaction. I don't know if you guys saw that, but he A2'd the Arbiter. I saw the unkillable trigger, but then the sheep also triggered. A little bit weird. I'm not too sure. A little bit weird interaction, but obviously she's gonna not be able to do anything with the block buffs debuff there on Arbiter. All right, so I think her main role will probably be in Hydra. It's not so much necessary to have Arbiter in the same team as her. Her kit is very just solid, just for general Hydra usage. She can be a protector just for Hydra, so if you just omit her two passives, which I find kind of like redundant because she would be geared properly for accuracy if you need her to provoke, and she would be geared properly with resistance if you need her to mischief tank. So both these passives are kind of useless. In my opinion, so you can kind of ignore it, but in this case we will use her with Arbiter. For Hydra, I think she's a very solid champion. She has the double hit provoke, and then obviously she has a shield, and then she has a small strip here, and then the ally protection and strengthen. Just solid, but nothing too crazy or anything like that. I do have her kitted out in the 9-piece protection. Actually, I will set her up right now, actually, to have the 9-piece protection, so she gives some extra damage on that front. So let's check out this preset manager stuff. Let's see here. Preset manager, try on. Boom, there it is. That is some sweet, that is some sweet quality of life, guys. All right, boom. I got her in the 9-piece protection set for some extra damage. Let's see, we got Arbiter here for increased attack and a turn meter boost. We got 3 attack-based damage dealers to maximize the effect of the Arbiter being on a team, and then we have defense down, weaken. We don't have a speed down. Actually, let me find a speed down here that will work. All right, why not? Let's use the Countess Licks instead of the Varl. Obviously, we're giving up a ton of extra damage there from the Varl versus the Countess Licks, but she could be some fun here on this team. We're just doing hard, so let's give it a go, have some fun here. All the buffs and debuffs are covered, except for probably the Head of Torment here. So we're going to go with increased attack, turn meter boost, defense down, weaken, and then we'll go with the speed down. All right, block buffs. What do we want to do? Let's go increase accuracy. And then here she comes with the ally protection and strengthen, all protected, and then she's going to give some extra boosting. And let's see. I think it's okay. That's a pretty good shot from Wukong, but of course we won't get the provoke happening until we get back to Incarnate. So let's see if she can provoke. She is weak affinity here, and she fails to provoke. So she is going to be lean kind of heavily here just to be the provoker. Let's see if we can get back to her turn again. Speed down again. And we don't, unfortunately. Okay. Probably could have used Shamail here just because of the Head of Torment, which is kind of annoying. But I wasn't sure what the rotation was here on the test server. Okay. Let's see here. Try to kill this Head of Decay here. Okay, back to it. Block buffs again. And okay, we're starting to lose people. Kind of hard to set up there. Okay, ally protection again. Okay. Revive. I guess in Hydra, it would not, her passive would not be overly used. Just because your Arbiter would not be dying left, right, and center. She's not doing the best job mischief tanking, actually. She's not, for some reason, I didn't see a shield get generated from her last attack. She's not doing the best job of mischief tanking. She doesn't place an extra buff on herself, so she's not a guarantee for that to happen, but I do have the accessory on her. Okay. 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 Shield's a little bit, seems a little bit better here. But maybe it's because, I'm not too sure. Shield seems a little bit better here. Okay. Okay, now we can lay down the hammer. We were falling behind a little bit here with the damage per turn, but now that all the heads are down, we're just gonna start slamming here. I mean, it's just hard difficulty, so should be able to... Okay, so I think there's something wrong. She's not getting the shield. She might not have the shield accessory on or something. Unless she had it on from the preset, but maybe she doesn't. The shield there from her A2 does give extra 5% damage from the protection set, which is kind of cool. Alright, so that damage output was pretty decent there. For sure, the 9-piece protection definitely helps on her. Of course, 3 solid, consistent buffs gives some pretty good damage output for the rest of your team. Yeah, she seems to be doing okay. I think the Head of Torment definitely gave us a little bit of trouble there in the beginning, so I should have just probably spec'd Shamail in the opening team, and then it would have been okay. But yeah, definitely some issues, mischief tanking, so maybe she's not the best, champion to mischief tank, even with the Blood Shield accessory. I'm gonna just double check the Blood Shield accessory afterwards to see if it's actually see if it's on. Pretty cool still. I mean, the protection set seems solid. I'm liking it. But obviously 9-piece protection, not something that a lot of people will have, but I think just giving her just like a standard regeneration set would be totally fine. Even in this set, even in this team where there's not really a dedicated healer, she is doing fine. But yeah, definitely specking for like regeneration for a way for her to survive would be pretty good, especially if your team is kind of like up against the limit in terms of like content, in terms of like progression. Like maybe your gear is basically maxed out at that stage in the game. You might want to you might want to bring some healing just because you'll be taking a bit more damage, or your stats are not as high, for example. Like this protection set is not insanely good in terms of overall stats, but let's get back into this. Yeah, I think we're gonna just call it here, kind of quick here. Let's take one more shot from this Wrath. She does take a bit of damage from the ally protection, so she protects the whole team, so she does soak up a lot of the damage here. So you can see her health is a little bit low. And she won't have too many ways to heal up. So let's see if she can heal up with the A2. Actually, it does pretty good. See that big heal there? She does have War Master. There's 2 decapitated heads. So she was able to heal up pretty good, and then she places the decent size better shield, I guess. So not too bad there. But anyways, we'll cap that off there. Don't want to keep on going. But this run should be pretty good. It should be maybe like a 4 or 500 million run. I mean, seems pretty solid. Razavar doing obviously the bulk of the damage. Incarnate chipping in with the War Masters and the A2s. Actually not too bad actually for her. So she probably can do a little bit, but obviously not going to be an insane damage dealer or anything like that. We'll check out the total stats on her again. And yeah, it's in terms of total stats there for hard difficulty, these are pretty reasonable in terms of total stats. Let's check out the Hydra stuff. Well, there is some additional stats here, of course. So speed, 260 speed. Obviously, any kind of support, you probably want to have at least 250 speed for all Hydra content. If you can swing that, her resistance is probably not needed. I totally forget. This is why she was not mischief tanking, is because she has the 9-piece on. My fault guys. So she's not able to mischief tank properly with the 9-piece on. Duh, of course. Okay, so in that case, having the resistance on her seems not super efficient, so perhaps going full defense and then just trying to grow the shield there would have made a little bit more sense. In terms of what kind of stats she had to grow that shield, 4.6k defense. The shield did not look super impressive, but the stats on the gear is kind of all I have. So I have naturally resistance gear on her, but you can definitely try to add extra defense to give her a bit more of a bigger shield. Let's try that real quick. Alright, and just for some fun here, we're going to give her as much defense as we can realistically muster as is, and then we'll see how big her shield grows. So for this test, we got her at almost 9k defense, so let's see how much her shield will actually grow here. We have seen her apply the A2 a couple times, and it doesn't seem like it's super strong. So let's see how she's going to go here with basically like as much defense as I can muster on this account, but let's see how it goes. So her ability here is attack all enemies, remove chance shield buff, and remove one and random buff, which is cool, and then places the shield, and the shield is proportionate to her defense. So let's see what it can do. Well, 5. So it breaks after. Let me try that again. It looked like it broke after about 20,000. Slow it down. Okay. 5.5, so 11. 11 plus 8, so that's 19 plus 7.5, so that's 26.5. So just under 30k shield, roughly. Just under 30k shield for almost 9k defense. I think that's I'm not sure. I think that feels a little bit low. But yeah, that's kind of what we're working with here, guys. Okay, I'm not too sure. Let's put this on Valk and see how it goes. All right, so just for further comparison, I guess for completeness, we're going to put it on Valkyrie here. And Valkyrie has a very similar move with her A2. Well, she's not fully booked. I'll fully book her out for this test, but the value of the shields is equal. value of the shield and the damage inflicted are proportionate to this champion's defense. So her ability actually scales quite well off of defense, and I believe it generates the biggest shield. But let's see what she does after the fully books going into her. Actually, never mind. I just checked the Incarnate's ability, and Incarnate doesn't get any boost from books in terms of her shield growth. So I'm not going to give Valkyrie extra shield percentage here. So we'll just run her bookless and see how it goes. The gear swapped over actually gave Valkyrie a little bit more stats. Valkyrie has much higher base defense, so 9.3k defense. I'm going to remove something here so that it kind of levels it out, similar to the Incarnate. 8.6k. Let's run with 8.6k and see how much shield she can generate here. Valkyrie, see how much can we generate here. Looks larger already. So 10.5, 6.7, so that's about 17 plus 12.5. That's about 30k. 30k minus 5, so about 35k to break the shield. I think she does have a better shield growth than the Incarnate, but probably not by much. Obviously, with books, Valkyrie's going to be a lot stronger in terms of growing her shield, but it looks like the Incarnate's shield growth is probably in line with what we expect from these type of champions. So nothing too bustedly bad about that on her A2. So I would say that's not a negative against the Incarnate. Alright guys, so that's going to wrap up this video. I think I summed it up pretty completely in this video, showcasing her in various areas of the game where she can actually be decent. I think her kit overall is very solid, although not very sexy or overly inspiring, to be honest. Her passive, there's some good in it, but honestly it's just giving Arbiter the Skull Crown treatment of giving her the unkillable buff. I don't necessarily think it's that strong because Arbiter can still be CC'd even though she has the unkillable buff, which does not make it so that she can recover the team with the revive ability. So it's not particularly strong, and for whatever reason, the Incarnate does not pair particularly well with Arbiter, it seems. Arbiter wants to go fast and all that stuff, but then the Incarnate wants to turtle up and protect your team and slow things down with Provoke and all that stuff. It just doesn't feel like a good mix. However, the Incarnate is a very decent champion on her own and can definitely help players, especially in Hydra, where her kit can be much better, especially for the A1. And then she can team protect your team with the A2 and A3 here. So in that regard, she's actually pretty decent. This fusion is not going to be easy for you guys because it's going to be a mixed fusion. So you have to collect fragments for the epics and then fuse them into the legendary. It's probably not going to be very forgiving. So if you guys miss some of the fragments for the epics, then you're kind of out of luck. It's going to be very difficult to recover from that because you can't pull the rares from mystery shards or ancient shards. You can pull the epic, but obviously pulling a specific epic is going to be pretty lucky if you can get that going. So overall, I don't think this champion really fits in for the late game crowd. And for an early game player, this fusion is going to be quite difficult, but I do feel she will be helpful for an early game player. Her kit, like I said, is solid, although not sexy or anything like that, but she is capable in Clan Boss and Hydra for sure. With that being said, best of luck. Hopefully this showcase was helpful to you guys, showing her abilities. And yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about her. Do you guys have any interesting applications for her that we haven't gone through yet? Anything that you guys want to see in particular, what she can do. I think her kit is relatively standard and self-explanatory, but if you guys have noticed something that I did not mention, make sure you guys let me know in the comments below. And yeah, appreciate your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.